sky turned black, the stars fell down. United we stand, but we're losing ground. One world beneath the iron fist. Voices silenced, they cease to resist. Echoes of hope in the darkening night. Fading whispers of a long lost life. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. The sirens wail through the desolate towns. Once proud nations painted in the scars of the crown. A single army marching on our dreams. Unity forged in despair, or so it seems. Nothing left but shadows drifting away as the last embers of freedom decay. Rise up, hear the call to arms. In this storm of chaos we'll find our charms. Together we'll fight through the ashes and dust. A phoenix reborn in our hearts' purest trust. One global army, together we stand. In the fall of the world, we'll make our last stand.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Saturday Paranormal Coffee Talk with Eric and myself. And we're going to try and keep you entertained for at least an hour today, depending on how my internet service goes, because they still haven't dug up the line, Eric. So that is just a recurring problem. Plus, I have got this headache I haven't been able to get rid of for over a week now. So, and it's a blinding headache. So, that being said, I'm going to read the disclaimer. All the music, all the information are, that I talk about and that my podcast channel has for the intro and outros is the sole ownership of William Nighthawk of Nighthawk Eye Strangeness podcast channel. And we have full rights to everything, so they should not be disputed. But any clips that we play, I've got to say this. So this channel may use some copyrighted material without specific authorization of the owner, but contends that it falls under the fair use, which is the Copyright Act of 1976, making allowances for fair use for purposes such as criticism, commentary, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, research, parody, and let's not forget the entertainment value. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976, otherwise known as the fair use. All right. That being said, I want to say hello to everybody and thank everybody for putting up with me. Because I haven't been able to get online last night, not only because of the internet being spotty, but also because of the way I was feeling. So I apologize for that. I had to reschedule Friday nights into the Red Rabbit Hole for this Sunday night, okay, at 11 p.m. Because I kind of figured you'd do it then. Um, it means a lot to me. It helps me out a lot. YouTube have made it very, very difficult to check it out and
Yeah, we keep losing your audio, bro.
go ahead and become a channel member because that would be great
Yep, you froze up again, bro. Yeah, we'll kind of wait to see if he can get it come back. We actually just lost him. How's everybody doing this morning? Hopefully he can get it fixed and be back on here in just a moment. Yeah, he's still having issues. They didn't dig up his lines. You know, they came out, supposedly got my signal strength better, fixed it, but I got dropped on Jessica's show the other night. So, but I was able to do it over 3 hour live yesterday with me working on my book without a problem, I think, if I remember right. No, I was, you know, it was, I got dropped. Yeah, I got dropped yesterday on too, I think. I can't remember now. But we'll kind of hang tight until he gets back up. He's coming back in now. So we'll see if we can get him up and going and continue on. But it's good to see everybody here this Saturday morning, and hope everybody's doing fine. I've been going through the paranormal investigation I did at my neighbor's house all night last night, up through this morning. After my first digital 360 recording that I've gone through, which is an hour and 37 minutes long. Needs to say, the multiple hours I spent on it, I've still got 40 minutes to go through it. That's how much evidence I caught. He's almost loaded up here, it looks like.
it's a very, very disturbing thing to have to put up with.
So he's still not completely. There he is. Welcome back, bro. Hey, Melissa.
Now, I'm telling you, man, this is getting to be a lot of bullshit with this internet thing.
Yep.
Um,
Yours.
as much money as I pay for it every month, it really is. It's getting out of control.
Yeah. Lucky. So I get it. Oh, I think he froze up again. So yep, he's froze up again. I wish they would have got their butts out there and helped him in. We lost him again. Okay. So as we wait for him to come up, you know, yeah, we all are. So yeah, I'm trying to get through that evidence right now, and you know, I was done some writing yesterday, which I went live on, and haven't done a live with me writing in a while. I tried a new technique with having my you know, my writing screen up where everybody can see it as I'm writing. It's a good time. I mean, it flew. I mean, we had over a 3-hour live yesterday. Hey, Monisha. We had over a 3-hour live yesterday with me working on my book, and that was fun. I mean, it just flew by, and then I got to work on that other stuff. So hopefully I can have my neighbor's paranormal experience video put out here before too long. But if it keeps going the way it's going, with me catching all that stuff, and like I said, I've only started on the first digital 360, which is an hour and 37 minutes long, and I started to work on that at 6 o'clock last night, working on it this morning, and I still got 40 minutes of audio to go through, and that's not counting another digital 360 and like 2 or 3 different cameras. So yeah, I still got a lot of work ahead of me. But it's nice to be able to sit in my chair and do that. So I just been keeping my phone on vibrate and going through the evidence. Waiting on him. He's still loading up here. It looks like. But hopefully I can have that out. If you guys haven't seen the Indian Point Paranormal Experience video is out. All right, he's starting to load up here. We got the buffering signal. It's buffering. Yeah, my knee is doing better. I was able to sit in this chair most of the day yesterday before I started hurting. The swellings went down quite a bit. So since that's been done, I've been busy with writing and getting things set up and for this weekend shows and going through this evidence. I've been ignoring my phone and just trying to get to work, trying to get things done. We lost the buffering signal, but we got the nameplate. I can, to a point, my computer chair does have a leg rest.
Can anybody hear me out there?
Yep, we got you.
Give me 1 second, folks. I'm going to try to get into my phone on StreamYard and see if I can bypass this internet with my data on my phone.
Okay. Hey, Joanne. Hey, Daryl.
This is getting ridiculous. All right. Okay, let's see here. Enter studio. I'm going to have to mute my mic on my computer until my mic on my phone comes on.
All righty. We'll just wait on his mic to pop up. But yes, thanks for asking. Yeah, my knee is doing better. And, I'm down to only popping 1 pain pill a day. It's usually at night to help me to go to sleep. That's usually because I'm kind of may have pushed it a little too hard. Oh, heard you.
Yeah, okay. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. That's so good.
Going to be one of them cases where it's going to be a bad internet time.
Yeah, you're getting a lot of feedback through that phone mic. You're muted, so we can't hear you. Yeah, both your phone and your computer are muted. The mic's muted. There you are.
There you are. There you are.
Okay, can you hear me?
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
I'm scared to talk.
It's not you, it's
no
me.
There's no feedback now, so that's good.
Can you hear me?
Ooh, yeah, I can hear you. I had to take the earplugs out, man.
It's gotta be you. 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 It's gotta be you.
I ain't got nothing going.
I ain't got nothing going. I ain't got nothing going. I ain't got nothing going. I ain't got nothing going. I ain't got nothing going.
I've got one microphone and it's on my cell phone right now. I've literally got one microphone going. I got the computer mic off and I've got my headphones off.
Mic off and I've got my headphones off. Mic off and I've got my headphones off. Mic off and I've got my headphones off. Mic off and I've got my headphones off. Mic off.
All right. Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay. Can people in the chat still hear me?
Oh, good. There's no more feedback.
You know what? I had to turn my computer off in order to use the phone. Okay, completely off. So I can't see the chat. I can't see my pictures because my phone is too damn small. But we're going to talk about the paranormal shit that's going on and some of this weird shit that's going on too, like with my computer. I believe that they have got my multiple microphones in or around, or listening devices in and around where I live. I really do. Because I've been speaking out an awful lot about certain groups, government agencies, family bloodlines. And, I do truly believe that I am under some type of a manipulative type of an attack, okay, and surveillance. And every time I go to talk, they always try to silence me, okay? And they're either using techniques like maybe MK Ultra, or ultrasound, or whatnot, or spell casting and hexes, because all that stuff is real, folks. Okay. So that being said, since I can't get into my computer while I'm doing this, at least I can do it on the phone. So we're gonna go with that. I might be able to pop some pictures up and stuff to talk about, because I wanted to talk about a little bit about what's going on with my experiences here, living here with the paranormal and the supernatural. And I know I wanted Derek to talk a little bit about what he's been going through too, because things have escalated, folks. Okay. That is one of the pictures from my security camera that I got. And that is literally a red orb shifting from red mist to an orb and then back to a mist again. Okay. That is outside my living room window in broad daylight. Okay. And it wasn't a bird. It wasn't a moth. It wasn't a bug. It was literally an orb, a red orb. Okay. And my sons have seen it also outside their windows at night. Okay. But this thing shifted from a mist to an orb and back to a mist again and then disappeared. So, that's just one of the variants that I have been experiencing here, and seeing in broad daylight, folks. Okay. So call it what you may, but that is definitely paranormal. Okay. Also, I believe there's another picture on there, Eric, where I have back by the tree line where it's circled. I'm not sure. That's the other picture of the little person with all the orbs in the window. Okay. And it's literally peeking through. You should be able to enlarge that, so people can see it completely, because the eyes are glowing. The eyes are glowing on the little person. Okay. Now that window is 3 feet off the ground. Okay. So it wasn't a cat. It wasn't a bear or anything, because it would have been a lot bigger of a head. That head is literally probably the size of a, how many of you have bought ragu or Prego spaghetti sauce and taken the metal lid off? That head is no bigger than the lid on that jar. Okay. So that tells you right there that it's not a big animal out there, or anything. A cat's head is even a domesticated house cat. Its head is bigger than that. Okay, this was actually a lot smaller. And then all the orbs that were caught through the curtain is just, it's amazing to me. Okay. So, and I only had a chance to circle a few of the orbs that were in the picture. If I actually removed those circles, you'd see a lot more. But that little person was surrounded by literally dozens of orbs. So when we talk about the paranormal and the supernatural, you got to think instinctively, are you dealing with fae, or are you dealing with elementals, or are fays and elementals the same thing? To me and my beliefs, I believe they are the same thing. I believe they are connected to the earth. And I believe wherever there is a lot of bloodshed, which we have had here where we live because of the Civil War, I believe that gives them even more power from the earth to do interdimensional travel. Okay. And that's why these beings aren't seen very much in our world. Okay. Does that make sense to anybody? Eric, what do you think?
Yeah. So one little thing, I don't know what's going on. I may have to refresh my end because I can't see the pictures on my end on the stream deal, but I can see them on the YouTube side. So I may
That
have
is,
to refresh my deal real quick and see if that fixes that issue. Um, but I'm looking for that one. The only one I can see at a tree line right now, besides the red orb, is something looks like a wolf on a sidewalk or a driveway. So I don't see the other picture you're looking for in here.
okay, let me see if I can find it, and I'll see if I can upload it. But I'm
Okay.
going to wait till you come back on in case I lose you. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, folks, I'm not going to be able to see anybody's comments unless I tap back into my computer. And I really, really don't want to because of the feedback. Now, with the microphone off on the computer, it shouldn't be making that squelching noise or you shouldn't hear any feedback. Okay. And I clearly don't have my bandana headphone on. So I'm strictly using the cell phone to talk. Okay. Which surprisingly, the cell phone speaker and microphone hasn't worked in the longest time, and that's why I wear the headband, because I can't hear, you know, the obvious, from like when the phone rings and all that. So, but there he is.
Yeah,
Okay.
let me test out a photo here real quick, bro.
All right.
Okay, so now I can see it. Okay. Yeah, I can see it now. Okay, good.
Okay. All right. Well, that picture there is the way they described it. Now that I did a lot of research on this picture. I reversed image it and all that. And allegedly, and I have to say allegedly because I wasn't physically there, but that is a legitimate sighting of a cryptid that followed a family home one evening after having dinner out. And they live out in the country. Okay. And they got a picture of it from the car. If you look at the bottom of the picture, as far as you can go, you'll see the edge of where the window comes up on the car. And that photo was literally taken from a vehicle. Okay. Now, is that a dog man? Is that a werewolf? Is it demonic? As you can see, it does not have red glowing eyes. Okay. It doesn't have any eye shine, as a matter of fact, or glowing or self-illuminated, I should say. So it's my opinion that they actually saw a human hybrid werewolf. Okay. I really do believe that. And, after the research on this picture, I would assume that, the family probably moved away from that house. And you can see the living room house lit up in the background. Okay. That thing was literally waiting for them when they got home. Okay. It knew where they were going. So, the way a lot of these things work is either you have an attachment to you. It's like I've always said, how wildlife can imprint on somebody. Like you see all those videos online of people finding geese, coyote cubs, pups and bear cubs and stuff, and raccoon babies on the side of the road, and they pick them up and they raise them. Well, that baby is going to imprint on you as its parent, okay, as you have it growing up and take care of it, because it's going to rationalize that you feed it, that you bathe it, that you take care of it, and that you love it in such a way that it's going to imprint on you. Okay, so that is the same principle as this. Okay, I do believe they have the ability to imprint on people. Okay, whether it's some kind of weird, crazy, obscene, obsessed attraction to them, or whether it is just a vengeful, aggressive attachment, or whether it's a demonic attachment, okay, like a supernatural attachment. And you got to admit, that's a pretty good picture.
Yeah. One thing about it, the shadow looks weird compared to it, but if I'm reading this shadow correctly, it looks like it has a tail. You can almost see a shadow of a tail right behind it, which
That's
would
what I
tell me
saw
dog
too.
man.
Yep.
The shadow is weird because of where the light source is and where the shadow's casted. It's completely off. The shadow should be more towards the bottom than going towards the top, because you can see the light source up here in the upper left corner, which is casting the correct shadow on the creature, but the shadow on the ground is off. That's weird.
Yep.
But I mean, if I'm reading it correctly, which it is, the shadow is deformed compared to the shape, and it's got a tail, which would tell me, yeah, definitely dog man.
Yep. Yeah, it's some kind of, and what's really creepy about it, if that's the truth, if that is actually a legitimate dog man that we are looking at, then it's somehow imprinted on this family to follow them home, whether it was in an aggressive nature or whether it was in a sympathetic nature or whether it was, a familiar nature. It's got the ability to imprint on human beings and follow them home. And that could explain a lot of why cryptids are seen following people home. It's the same principle with the skinwalker. Okay. And I know this firsthand. When you're dealing with a skinwalker, they can imprint on you. They are still human by design, but the demonic possession that is within them can take and have the ability to supernaturally impress upon that person's, how do I want to say it? Not the physical form, but it can imprint on their chi, their soul, their spirit. Okay. So that's how a skinwalker can't find you with your physical looks. I mean, it could, but odds are 99% of the time, they're not going to find you through your physical look. They're going to find you through your spirit form, your chi makeup, your energy makeup. Okay. It's kind of like when you look through and you see a lot of these heat-seeking thermal cameras and you catch the body image of a thermal image. That's kind of like what a skinwalker does. We couldn't discern from photographic memory of whether we're staring at a male or a female, other than the common conceptions of seeing certain body parts heated up and not be heated up, certain sizes of people, how men are usually bigger than women, and broader. So when we actually do the ceremonies, we're looking almost like at you as a heat-seeking thermal image. Okay, that's not to say that we have the ability to look at people in that form of a walker, with the capabilities of a thermal camera, because we don't. We just see things like that. Okay, we see spirit because when you're dealing with spirit and you're having spirit and being possessed by spirit to transform, you're actually dealing with, how do I want to say this? You're dealing with your spirit that you're possessed by to another spirit. Okay. And irregardless, it's kind of like the theory of our bodies are being literally avatars for our spirit and our energy. And that's exactly the way we perceive it. Okay. Or at least that's the encounters that I've had, and several others that I've talked to that have been in the ceremony, have dealt with things. Because in that form, you can get a sense for somebody. Okay. You can literally read their aura. Okay. You can read whether they're frightened or whether they're angry or whether they're hateful or vengeful, and you can react quicker than what they can. Okay. So it always kept us one step ahead of the human syndrome. And I call it the human syndrome because that's exactly what it is. The human syndrome relies on certain senses. Well, when you're in spirit form, you don't rely on those senses. You are those senses. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So, in situations like this, these things are very interesting to see, and but it's what really sucks is when you're trying to diagnose somebody else's photos. It's hard because you wasn't there, if that makes sense.
Right.
And with all the stuff going on, it's hard. But I agree with you on the smell. I know they do it. I think they also go by sight too, because I think they're just as intelligent as you and I. Um, but the smell does seem to be one of the biggest characteristics for them finding people is a smell, or a sense. I think because they can see in the dark just as good as they can see in the light. So
Right.
they have a different spectrum of sight. So I believe that they can see a different wavelengths in the light sphere. So that means they could pick up on more things, more than just sight like you and I have, or scent, because they have a different type of eyesight. Now, I mean, so many
Yeah,
cultures,
kind of like a
including
full
they,
spectrum camera.
yeah, yeah. So, and if you listen to all the ancient stories about these things, even Native Americans will tell you these things were here before humans. So, if they were here before humans, that would tell you right there they're made differently than us. Now, is part of our genetics tied to them in some sort of way because of what one deity did, or what have you? Very possible. Yeah, you can't dispute it. It's definitely possible. But I don't know, man. It's trying to figure these things out. It's a fun puzzle. It really is a fun puzzle. But as far as imprinting, I mean, look how many times native culture has told you that they imprint on people. I mean, look, they're mostly seen around sacred lands, sacred burial sites, holy places, stuff like that. They're called in by medicine people. Dark magic calls them in. So being imprinted on somebody is definitely possible because of that. You got to factor that stuff into it, and if that does play a factor in why they're there,
Exactly.
maybe they personally imprinted themselves on you, or somebody imprinted it on you. For what reason or the other, I don't know. I mean, I would assume that we'll look at it this way: if it's imprinted to you in a negative way, you're probably going to wind up as a steamy pile of turds on the forest floor. But
Yeah.
if it's imprinted onto you in a positive way, then it's probably there to protect you.
Yeah, and the one thing that I can't help but remember is a lot of the encounters that we hear about where it's an aggressive type of a dog man coming at people in a threatening manner, it's more of the hyena type, okay, which
Mm-hmm.
is a common thing that you hear reported is a hyena type, a thicker head, stout ears, like almost bear-like, but coming to a point. Um, the thicker jawline, and just overall, just a different build than a regular dog would be. So when you
Mm-hmm.
talk about dog man, are there multiple types of dog man? And then do you have, like, say, with our people, with my people, with the holy people, even with me? And I'm not saying I'm some guru or anything like that, but or medicine man. But I'm a Wachacho Khan, and I've done ceremony my whole life. Okay, and the stuff that I know for a fact that can happen in ceremony, most humanity won't even believe. Okay, and the certain abilities you can get from being in ceremony. Okay, and in fact, that's why my senses are so heightened right now, and I see things and I experience things, and that's why I'm glad I got those couple images on camera. Now I'm going to use my phone to go in and see if I can load up a couple more pictures of what I've been seeing here. There was a
Okay.
mist that I spotted along the tree line from that same security camera that caught the orb and caught the little person and the red mist. Okay, that that camera captured something in the tree line, and it's like a grayish, whitish mist, and it goes, and it's not fog. Okay, there's a difference between mist and fog. Okay, now if it was fog, it would be the whole level of that area. Okay, and it would cover more. But this mist was literally probably, I'd say, about 6 to 8 feet wide and about 20 feet tall. Okay, and was it something trying to manifest itself? It probably was. And the camera picks up on motion. Okay, and I've got it set for body motion and any type of motion. So whenever there's the motion out there, it's going to take a picture, a still picture, and that's where those pictures came from. Okay, it's not the type of camera that's going to record continually feed, if you know what I mean, like a security camera would. It's basically just a security camera that takes still shots on motion.
Yeah.
So you can have proof. And I've had a lot of things happening out that window. So I figured, why not put the camera there and see what I can get? And that's why I'm getting all that I'm getting. And it's kind of nice because it confirms, well, first off, it confirmed the little person. Okay. It confirmed the orbs that I've been seeing around here, the mist. I mean, everything I've talked about. And I do believe that was the elemental trying to make itself appear in the mist along the tree line. The elemental I always talk about that stands with me and kind of looks out for me, the ancient spirit, okay? And it's literally like 20 feet tall, okay? And I likened it unto a tree spirit, a tree elemental, okay? And we all know about some of the legends of, of the druids about knocking on trees and the elemental coming out and offering its services to help you because you called it forward. And Native Americans have the same concept, basically. Not the exact same thing verbatim, but we do call upon them in ceremony to help us, okay? And elementals are a real thing. So that mist that was trying to form into something could have been an elemental. Now, here's the thing, okay? And I put this out there to everybody, and I wish I could see the chat. I'm going to have to watch this later and see what some of the comments are. But when you're dealing with Bigfoot sightings or Dogman sightings, and somebody talks and describes it as, oh, it's 20 feet tall and da-da-da-da-da, and it just appeared out of nowhere, and I know we all have problems believing people that, Bigfoot or Dogman can be 20 feet tall, okay? But when you refer back to the old biblical texts and stuff, that's not uncommon in the old Bible, okay? Whether the Bible was written by man or whether it was written by apostles like they say it was, whoever wrote the Bible, and we all know it's been changed here and there, and, Constantine, and the whole crap with all that, with making the King James version, and, we know it's been mutilated, okay? But if you look at the Ethiopian Bible, okay, the Ethiopian Bible is the complete Bible, okay? And, my hat goes off to the Ethiopian people because they are much more knowledgeable on the Bible than most people are, because all those missing apocryphas and books are in their Bible, okay? And it talks about the giants and all that. So why couldn't that mist or some of the 20-foot tall accounts of Dogman and 20-foot counts tall of Bigfoot or lizard men or whatever the heck you want to call them, why couldn't they be elementals coming forth in a form that would scare the person that they're interacting with to see how their reaction is to them, okay? Now, I, for one, know that elementals exist, okay? But secondly, we know when people see things that sometimes our mind can exaggerate it a little bit. Okay, that sometimes we emphasize that something 8 feet tall looked 10 feet tall. Okay, something 10 feet tall looked 20 feet tall. You know what I'm saying? So that does happen because of the adrenaline factor and the you know, the fact that you're being fearful, or you're you just can't believe what you see, so your mind kind of compensates for what you're seeing and overcompensates.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, why couldn't some of these 20-foot tall accounts of Bigfoot and Dog Man and Lizard Man and all that, and even Goat Man, make sense and possibly be an elemental coming forward from the dimension that they're in, to see how humanity is going to react to them in that form?
Yeah. Well, one of the things I wanted to say real quick when we were talking about the Dogman and werewolves earlier, if you actually look in the counters, there's more. It's more leaning on the side of the werewolf attacking somebody than it is the Dogman. And I think people mix them up because people don't know how to separate the two. There is a huge difference between werewolves and dogmen. Now, is there encounters of dogmen attacking people? Yes.
Yes.
But that's actually very few. Very few. Out of all the encounters, that's like a small little drop in the bucket. 9 times out of 10, if you encounter a werewolf, you're being attacked. They're
Yeah.
aggressive.
In fact, talk to
So,
Josh in the chat. Josh with Squatch and PA,
Topic
up
P.
in Pennsylvania. Yeah, talk to Josh in chat sometime and take a look at some of his information. Josh is a very dear brother of mine. Okay, love him to death, and his what he's doing up there in PA. He's an amazing young man, and you know, it does my heart good to see somebody step out of the box and take a look at the whole concept like you do, Eric. When it comes to dealing with a cryptid, how it possibly might not be just flesh and bone and blood. It might be something supernatural or paranormal attached to it. There might be some mysterious force causing this entity to be there. And I like the fact that Josh takes the Squatch Topic PA and goes above and beyond the normal thinking. And I know I talk a lot about the Gnostic belief and everything, and I can't help but make a connection with that belief to a lot of the stuff that is biblically mentioned, and to a lot of stuff that is happening today. Because when you deal with that, you're dealing with dragon bloodlines. You're dealing with archons. You're dealing with the ethos. You're dealing with all these other names for beings and for things that mysteriously happening. Okay. So there is that connection that possibly could be. Now, that doesn't mean that I'm limiting myself to that belief, but I'm trying to seek answers in every aspect that I can by gathering all this information. Okay. And it's nice to have somebody go down that road and try to continue what I've been doing for years. And, that's what's great about having you here too. You're a young buck. So, whether you got bad knees and a bad back or not, you're a young buck. And you're going to carry on what's going on. You're not going to give up at saying it's just flesh and blood and that's it. You know what I mean? Because there is more. There's more to this life than there is just flesh and blood.
You need to come out here immediately. There's a crisis. Like someone with a Glock in a car I've never seen shooting outside our house, and our son's going out to confront them.
Hold on a second. I'll be right back. Eric, can you take over?
Yeah, I got you, bro. So, and I agree because, so I look at things a lot differently. I look at the historical side of things. People look at things and they're wanting clickbait, and I'm not going to clickbait nobody. Y'all either like this old hillbilly or you don't. I mean, that's just what you get is what you get. I'm an old Marine grunt, NCO. I just tell it how it is, But, historical records tell you that, there's two different types. You got the dog-headed people, and then you got werewolves. Okay, and the fact of it is, werewolves are magically created, and um, dog men are naturally created. Now you can go by the stories and hear the curses, and that's why the dog men are the way they are. Which dog men is a new term, and people forget about that. But there is a difference between the two. There is a big difference between the two, but people always loop them together, and they're actually separate. So we have to keep that in mind when we're looking at these things. And there's telltale signs of what's what. If its body's covered in fur and it's got a tail, it's a dog man. If it is partially covered in fur, got a lot of human characteristics still, but it's got the wolf head, well, y'all, that's a werewolf. Uh, Thank you, C Duke. Thank you. Uh, David. Hey, main house, how's it going? You're a cow been years old. Man, yeah. I'm young ish. Too many years of jumping out of helicopters. But we also got to consider that when it comes to Bigfoot as well. So there's different types of Bigfoot. Now, the ones that's very human looking, this is the theory that I subscribe to, and that's either A, they're a human Sasquatch hybrid, or B, they are the last remnants of Neanderthal, or C, a combination of both. Because we have to figure Neanderthal, we didn't know much about it. And now that more stuff has came out and more proof, more truth has come out. Hey, Unreal, it shows that we were correct on a lot of things about Neanderthal. They were bigger, they were stronger, and they were hairier. And it fits with all the ancient text. I mean, all this new evidence that come out about Neanderthal fits with ancient text. So I believe that we're dealing not just with a Sasquatch, but we are also dealing with Neanderthal and human Sasquatch hybrids. So we have to consider all that. I mean, when you're looking in the supernatural side of things, is everything okay, bro?
No, it's not. I'm going to have to go, guys. David, if you're listening, do me a favor. Contact the Shenandoah Sheriff's Office and send them to my place as soon as possible. We just had somebody in a vehicle drive past and shoot 12 rounds from a semi-automatic past our house. So I'm going to have to report it to the police. I've got to get off of here. I'm sorry, guys. Please take your time. Talk as much as you want on here. But I'm going to have to go deal with this. I went outside to see if I could catch them, and they got out of here before I could get to them. If anybody is watching this that is law enforcement in the area where I live, be on the lookout. It's two young people, probably in their 20s. And what they did is they drove through and got in front of my place, and they shot off about 12 times with a semi-automatic pistol past my place. They didn't shoot directly into my place. They shot into the tree line. Okay. Now, how many times have I talked about the tree line at my property on this podcast? So that tells me that somebody that's watching this podcast is possibly linked to this. Okay. So I've got a lot to deal with. I'm going to cut out of here. I'm going to leave my phone on in here, so you guys can continue this, Eric. But you'll have to. I mean, we've been into it almost an hour now, but this is going to have to take precedence. I got to get a hold of the sheriff's office and try to figure out what's going on, because once people start taking pot shots, that's when I'm done. Okay. And this young punk had a goatee and everything, and I'm gonna deal with it. So,
Yeah, go ahead.
all right.
Okay, guys. Yeah, I would keep William and his family in your prayers. With what's going on there. We got to take care of our good brother here. Um, so we can go for a little longer, just to help him out on his show. So we'll keep on with the topic. See if we get any updates on anything while we'll do this. So let's look at the supernatural side of things, and people get paranormal and supernatural mixed up quite often. Supernatural is definitely completely different to paranormal. Paranormal, you're going to be dealing with a lot with a ghost. Ghost is something that has been unalived. So I'm a firm believer that we, have ghosts, the human ghost. Animals it's been proven that there's ghosts of animals. Um, yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking, main house. Uh, so I believe that Sasquatch and Bigfoot do as well. Buddy, I've got this up here because I'm trying to elevate or get off this one side. Come here. You're being awful needy today. You know that, bud? No? Yeah, let me clear. So I don't have the fan on, so I don't know why you want to sit up there. All right, hold on. There you go. There you go. There's your spot. And let me move my hat. There's your spot, bud. Sorry, guys. Snow is being a little needy. Yeah, there you go. You got. I don't have it plugged in, so I can't turn it on, bud. You're just gonna have to deal with it not being on. Don't give me that sad look. It's not plugged in. I'll plug it in later. Sorry, got needy animals. So I'm a firm believer that Dogman and Sasquatch also have spirits. Now, you guys have heard me talk about this before because there is reports of seeing orbs around Bigfoot and Dogman, which I always say, could that be the Fae? I don't think it's necessarily the Bigfoot and the Sasquatch. I don't. Yeah, would you mind, Corey? Let me get the link for you, bro. Remember how to do this. This is a new setup. So let me figure that out, Corey. Get yourself set up while I figure out how to get that up for you, buddy. Okay. Yeah, this thing's updated, so I got to figure where everything's at. Huh. Oh, okay. Maybe it's this one. Yep, it's this one. Okay. Come on. Come on. You can do it. You can do it all night long. All right, bro. It's going in. It's going in the chat now. There you go. Click that, bud. As soon as you come in, we'll get you added up. But I personally do not believe that Bigfoot and Dogman turn into orbs and fly around. I'm sorry, I don't. There's just not enough evidence to suggest that. Is there people that see something like that? Yeah, I'm looking at it as I believe that's their spirits. I believe the spirits of their ancestors are around them. Just, hey, Jessica, how's it going? Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I agree. That's kind of exactly what I was talking about. Yeah, I believe that they have their spirit forms as well, and I think that's what a lot of people are seeing them when they say, "Oh, I just seen a Bigfoot, but it turned into an orb." I think it's the spirits of them that's doing that. That's my personal beliefs. Um, you know, honestly, that's my personal belief, but there's no historical evidence of them actually doing it physically. Just like going into portals, I don't believe they go into portals. I believe that some of them on the Mason or on the medicine side can go into portals because they know how to do that, but not every single one of them. Now, have I seen videos of them doing adaptive camouflage? Absolutely. If they stop, it seems like they disappear. That's not them going into the portal. That's them stopping, blending in with their environment. Hey, Tanya. Hey, Corey. How's it going, bro?
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah, a little bit of delay, but we got you.
How about, does that sound good?
Yeah, bro. So, you and me's done some talks together on my show. We've done it here on William's show too. When it comes to these flesh and blood type of dogmen, Sasquatch, and supernatural and the paranormal side. But for those of you that hasn't heard Corey talk about this, Corey, kind of let us know what you think on the supernatural side, the physical side, and the paranormal side.
Well, y'all were talking about the little people earlier.
Mm-hmm.
The Comanche call them the Nunapi.
Mm-hmm.
And they say they have, special abilities, and it's best to just avoid them at all, at all costs. But I sent you a picture, Eric, of Choctaw medicine man. He's from Oklahoma. Well, he's from Missouri. I think he moved to Oklahoma, but this was taken in Ardmore, Oklahoma, at a photographer's shop, and he walked in and he wanted to get his picture taken, and he asked the photographer for a stool, and he said, "I thought you were going to stand," and he said, "No, it's for my little helper." So the photographer takes this picture, and photographer said no one was in the stool the whole time. And I sent you a picture of what the photographer developed in that photo. I was wanting William to look at it to maybe see if he'd ever seen one of these before.
Yeah. I'll have to try to get that sent to my my messenger because I can't download that from my phone onto here.
I can, well, I'd have to go out, but
yeah, I can. Let's send that to my messenger.
I think the possibilities are infinite. I know you can't box it in as one thing. And I started watching this guy named Nathaniel Gillis. He's a demonologist, and he kind of looks at demonology from a different angle than most. And his research has produced some of the craziest stuff I've ever seen. And if you sit and listen to him, his appearances on podcasts are kind of long, but that's because there's so much information that this guy has accumulated through, say, the last 10 years. And it's kind of frightening, really. These things could be flesh and blood. They could be supernatural. They can be a demonic spirit that's possessed a flesh and blood. They can read what you fear and become that right in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a drop in the bucket. So think about the possibilities. They're endless. I mean, whatever you could think of, as crazy as it sounds, whatever you can make up in your mind, the truth is going to be crazier than that.
Yeah. Okay, come on. This internet. Oh my gosh.
Man, I'm kind of worried about William.
Yeah, I am too.
Man, all that stuff to begin with, and then now this happens.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, I gotta wait for my other page to load up. It's being slow. I've been on Wondershare all night and all morning going through that paranormal evidence, so it's slowed everything down on my computer. But it just, you could go so many directions with this stuff, man. It seems like the more you learn, the more you realize you don't know. Yeah. When it comes to this. And that's true. And that's true, so if you actually study things with red eyes, and this is not just Christianity, this is religion worldwide. It's got red glowing eyes, not red reflective eyes. I'm talking about red glowing. Backlit. Yeah. That is very demonic. Now, a predator will have red reflective eyes, and that's where people get a confusion on this so much is they're like, oh, it got red eyes. Okay, what do you mean? Well, I shined the light right and it came up red. So I said it wasn't red when the light was shining. And he's like, no, it is only whenever I shine my light at it. So well, that's a predator. So that's not demonic. Alligators and crocodiles are like that. You shine the light on them, you'll see the red. But yeah, all predators have a back reflective eye. Well, I studied it, and there's this guy that came on Jeff Nadalny's channel, and they call him Steph the Contractor. And this guy's been all over the world. He does security in mining operations. And he explained it. It's called photophore illumination. There are creatures that have it, that we know of, that have this photophore illumination to them. And to me, red means danger. Yeah. Yeah, stranger danger, red eyes. Stranger danger. Yes. Yeah. But I listen to answer your question. Go ahead. Sorry. What's that? Unreal had a question, but go ahead and finish your deal. Looks like we're waiting on William. That's crazy. That's what I was getting ready to talk about. Okay. Orange eyes, danger, I think. And then you've got the corona colored after that. And I think those could be dangerous, could not be dangerous. Depends on its attitude. Just like people. And I think their attitude is a lot like ours in the whole scheme of things. I think people are 33.3% bad, 33.3% what do you call it? Just really doesn't have. They sit in the middle. They sit on the fence. And 33.3 are good. Mm-hmm. Man, too many football hits to the head. I try to think of a word, man, and sometimes it just doesn't come. Yeah, little CTE from Corey. Y'all give me a break. Indifferent. Okay, that's what I was trying to come up with. Indifferent. Indifferent. Well, William was trying to come back in. Well, I'm glad he's just back, Yeah, he's not trying to come back in anymore, so I don't know what happened there. Sorry, okay, guys. Well, at least we know he's still alive. I'm not ignoring your comments. I'm trying to load something, so I'll get to your comments here in a moment. My computer is just like really lagging for some stupid reason. Probably don't help that I got multiple tabs open for a show I plan on doing next week, and also trying to do research on a book I'm working on at the same time. So that probably don't help it any either. Okay, see. The only glowing I've seen was where the yellowish white dual beams of the light travel in the woods. Yeah. So a lot of so that's the funny thing, because a lot of times Dogman and Sasquatch are both associated with either yellow, green, or orange eyes. And yes, they are predators. Don't get me wrong, they are predators, and sometimes there has been red reflections when somebody shine a light. Most of your encounters with Dogmen or Sasquatch is either they're orange, they're yellow, or they're green. I don't think so. Okay, let me rephrase this, because the people's going to take it out of context. There's two different types of Sasquatch, and there's dogmen, and then there's werewolves. Okay, Sasquatch, you have some types that don't like humans and want to feed upon humans.
Yes.
Most common, Genoskwa or Gugwi, when it comes to that right there. Now, the stories behind them goes back in, and this is in the native culture here, that when, if memory serves me correctly, and I'm not 100% remembering on this side of it, but it was back when white man came to the land, and some of Sasquatch wanted to hunt and eat them, where the others are like, man, we just want to be left alone. And that's where you get like your Gugwi from, is that ordeal there. Now, Genoskwa in the native tales has always been very violent. And that's why I think my memory's a little hazy on it, because I think it's kind of tied to the same thing, but it probably goes back further than what some stories actually say. But those are the two that you'll have that's aggressive towards human. If you actually study a lot of true Sasquatch encounters, it's never been violent unless violence was brought upon them. And that's the key. So, and you guys heard me talk about it many times. Out of 33 years I've lived here on my property dealing with my guest, I've never had a violent encounter. It's always been peaceful. It's always been pleasant. Now, hey, Roger. Now, that's not to say that I don't get some young buck with his hormones going 90 to nothing, because I think they're the same way as we are. How do we get when we get into maturity? Our hormones are going 90 or nothing, and all we got in our head is, hey,
10 feet tall.
I got to breed today.
10 feet tall and bulletproof.
Yeah. I mean, what's exactly going through your head is, hey, you go, hey, Bobby, or Boo Boo, I got to breed today. These things I believe are doing the same damn thing.
Well,
they get into that sexual maturity.
Hey, look at this too.
Their horniness.
They're cannibal humans,
Mm-hmm.
And people really don't think about that, but there's people that like to eat people. We're the same way.
Yeah.
I mean, not us. Cannibals wouldn't come on the show, I don't think. I don't know. I'm kind of curious about a couple of y'all, but
I can't say I wouldn't try it once.
Yeah, I've never tried long pig that I know of.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. Well, actually, I've ate McDonald's, so yeah, I've eaten long pig.
Okay, well, I'm guilty of it too.
I didn't say that's for entertainment purposes only. That was for a joke. Don't take it seriously.
I'm kidding.
It came out a little too quick.
Well, people go, well, there's ones that like to eat people. Well, think about it for a second. There's people that eat people. So basically, they're just like us as far as, you got your cannibals, man. But as far as the Genoskwa and the Gugwe and what's the other one they call it? Okay, from my research, from Native American research and everything, is there has always been someone using dark magic. Uh-oh. I'm by myself. I don't know if y'all can hear me or not. Trying to see if I can read y'all's comments. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I can read the comments now. Can you guys hear me? Okay, cool. Okay, I'm going to go back down to normal here. This is crazy. It's the first time I've been on by myself, and I can't even read y'all's comments. I've noticed in all the encounters that I've listened to and watched, people say the green and the blue-eyed ones, the dogmen, aren't. The encounter isn't a negative one. I won't call it a positive one, but one commonality among the blue and the green-eyed dogmen is braided hair, and they're groomed, and no one has talked about a smell. So they're there we go.
That was, dude. Dude, this was a damn fight with this. It completely closed me out of this side, but my other side was still going. My other side enlarged. I had to fight to get it down. Then it tell me it couldn't get in because my mic and camera was on another side. I'm like, no, it's not. Oh my gosh, that was a fight to get back. And all I was trying to do was upload a photo that you sent me. So I'm not going to try to upload that again. Guys, I apologize. I don't know what the hell happened. I was literally trying to upload that photo you sent me, and it closed me out of this.
I didn't even know if I was still on till I zoomed in on the comments.
Yeah.
But
I was typing in. There's like, I'm trying to get back in. I can hear you. And then I didn't hear you respond. You was quiet. And I was like, uh-oh.
well, I was talking about the encounters people have had, you know, with the green and the blue-eyed dogmen, and they talk about, you know, it didn't try to attack them. It didn't seem malicious, but I'm going to say 75% of them talk about seeing braided hair and no smell.
You know, that's interesting. Jessica was just talking about that other night when I was laughing, going, Dog Man went G-Dog on a remote view that she was doing that I was live with her Thursday night. She was talking about the very same thing she's seeing in her remote view. Of course, you know, me being me, I've got to make a joke out of it. You know,
G-Dog
or Dog Man, G-Dog. Yeah. Yeah. But so I mean, you're saying that stuff, and then Jessica Jones is remote viewing that type of stuff, and you know, and what's funny is there's actually a lot of ancient texts that talk about that as well. So, also, what happened during my little escapade was my cat decided she wanted to take the place on the desk of my dog, and my dog was not wanting to give that place up, and they knocked all my stuff off. So as I'm trying to come back in, I was trying to get my area set back up too. But so yeah, I mean, so that seems to be a common thing dealing with these type of things. Even Sasquatch. I mean, it's not just Dogman. Sasquatch has been that way too. So, you know, and which makes sense because you look at the ancient text and you listen to what they talk about on this type of stuff, and it tells you in the ancient text that, you know, they traded with people, they warred with people, they rendezvoused with people, or powwowed with people. I mean, so if they're doing all this stuff, not just with the native people, I'm talking about all around the world. Okay, I'm talking about cultures all around the world. They're doing
on the Silk Road trading trail. You know, they talk about it.
I mean, so you know, our ancestors did the very same thing. Well, they learned from us just as much as we learned from them. So if they are actually, you know, if you're seeing encounters on that, I can't say no, that's not true, because in all actuality, it very well could be.
That's why everything you learn opens 100 more questions.
Yeah. You know, because I've always said this in every single ancient text, every single religion they talk about humans were created from the earth in one form or another. You know, they are created from the earth. You know, Norse, you know, man was created from ash tree, woman was created from elm tree, Adam and Eve, A-E, okay?
Yes.
In biblical text, from earth, God created man and woman, Adam and Lilith, also known as first Eve. And then when
I told somebody about Lilith.
Yeah.
I told somebody about Lilith.
Mm-hmm. So, and then you look at Zeus. Zeus, he made clay and breathed life into it, and there's where humans come from. So in ancient Anunnakian, you know, the ancient Sumerian and then the Anunnaki deal, they say that, you know, we took the clay of the earth and mixed our DNA within it to create humans. So every single ancient culture talks about these things being here prior to human. Hence why the native people called them the elder big brother, the first beings. And that's not just Sasquatch, folks. Folks, that's Sasquatch and what we nowadays call Dogman. So you have to consider that.
And another deal is from my research and from speaking to some older people, some elders, that the skinwalker it's always been, and this could be with any race of people, any tribe, you know, or clan. And to do battle, they would call upon the spirit of this of the wolf.
Yeah.
And when you think about this, Eric, you know, you may have a guy you went to school with who really you don't care for, but he sure helps out when he's blocking for you in a football game. You know,
Yeah.
a big old mean son of a bitch. Well, the same theory would go for a tribe when they were getting ready to have a battle with another tribe, and this could be for food for the winter, you know, for survival. You ain't gonna have a problem with that person helping you out,
Yeah.
you know, when it comes down to it, because the enemy of my enemy is my friend in survival, right?
Yeah.
And
So look at it this way too. You know, you know how I feel, and I've had conversations with other people. I don't think supernatural is bound by boundaries. Boundaries is a human aspect. Okay.
Mhm.
Um, you know, look at the jinn. Okay, the jinn were here before humans were. Now, there's a type of jinn which is a zombie type of jinn that is called a ghoul. What is the most commonly thing reported in World War One in France in the land that between the two trenches called No Man's Land? What is the most commonly thing reported seen there? It was the ghoul. Okay, folks. If the ghoul is if the ghoul is a jinn, and people tell you that oh the jinn's only associated with the Middle East, why are they seeing them in France? France is not the Middle East. You
oh,
know,
there's been
folks,
reports
we
of
have
the gin here in the United States.
yeah. Urso, that was me, buddy. I was commenting for William. So that was me, bud. Sorry, I should have stated that. I was welcoming Whisper. Whisper just found us and plugged in. So, Beans, I'm taking care of William's show today during his emergency. I commented for him. So I
Hey,
apologize about that.
I'll be right back, Eric. I
Yeah.
got to let my dog in.
Yeah, go ahead, bro. Go ahead. Yeah, Miriam, you're right. Now, jinn are all over the earth. They are well within that supernatural realm, and I would dare say even in the Fae. In some aspects of what we call the Fae, if you actually study it, is very similar to the jinn. So we're talking about this supernatural stuff. These things are all over the world, folks. Now, when I did a show on my channel a while back on poltergeist, I showed you videos of a poltergeist haunt, and I showed you videos of a jinn haunt. Okay, and I showed you how very similar those types of haunts are. So, you know, yes, poltergeist is German for noisy ghost. Okay. But there's a reason why I showed that because if you guys recall, for the ones who saw that, um, that the haunts of between the poltergeist and the jinn were damn near identical on every aspect of it. So I did that for a reason because I'm trying to get people to understand these things are not affiliated with boundaries. Boundaries is a human concept. I believe they could travel anywhere. You know, that's just my personal beliefs, you know, and that's just because of my research, my investigations, my everything is was because of all that. So you know, you guys can go on that however you want. It's like I always tell you, don't ever take my word for granted. Take it with a grain of salt and do your own research. Um, well, Whisper, yes, some jinn are known as protectors. Okay, most of the time, jinn are very malevolent. Sometimes they're a lot like Loki in some aspects. They'll do something nice for you, but they can also cause a lot of extreme havoc in your life at the same time. Loki, you know, is the same way. Of course, Loki's not an Aesir or a Volnir. Loki is a Jotnar. He's a frost giant. Okay, from the Jotnar world. So that's why Loki is the way he is. He's not a true god. He's a adopted god by Odin. Okay, so but the if you study a lot of this Jin stuff and this face stuff, it falls in lines with a lot of other gods of other cultures. Give me 1 second, guys. My daughter's in.
Easy. Yeah.
So sorry about that, guys. So that's why I believe in this type of stuff. I mean, I'm sorry, but a jinn can shapeshift. An SW can shapeshift. So many of these things can shapeshift that's out there that when you're looking at it on a supernatural level, you can see why they do it. And that's why I always say there's difference between ghost or paranormal and difference between supernatural, because ghost can't do a lot of the stuff that the supernatural can. Supernatural is based off of magic. Okay. So when you got these things that can do this type of stuff, that's what I'm doing.
Damn.
He's like, give me a kiss, Dad. Bacon. Where's the bacon? Bacon, bacon, bacon. I need bacon. That's exactly what it looked like right there.
That's Charlie. Oh, he heard me say his name. Here he comes again.
What's up, Charlie boy? What's up, Charlie boy?
You got him running in circles. He's looking around now.
I can see you, but you can't see me.
And I always keep a roll of toilet paper in the pickup. You never know when you're going to need it. Well, this morning I went to see one of my friends, and I was going to be in there just for a second. And he don't like dogs, so I left him in the pickup for about 5 minutes. And I come back out in the truck, and you couldn't have done a better job tearing up this roll of toilet paper than he did in that 5 minutes.
Oh,
I mean, he had it everywhere. It looked like snow in my truck when I got in. Sit down.
Oh, yeah.
Sit.
Seats.
He's something else. He's only a year old, man. He's a big old boy. If he ever grows into all that skin he's got, there's no telling how big he's going to get.
You seen how big Boar's gotten already? That dude is being a freaking. Yeah. He's a meathead though.
He's a
dog, it's not a pit bull. For a dog, it's not a pit bull. I swear to God, that dog is just like a damn pit bull. I love pit bulls. They are the autistic child of the dog world, and the most hardest and stubbornest thing to train, but the most loyal there is out there. Boar is that same way, man. He is a knucklehead. He's a meathead, and that's why I call him meathead quite often. He is, my God, he is autistic as hell. But they're a challenge for 2.5 years. They start to come out of it a little bit, but they still got that personality, even after they're a full-grown dog. But I'm telling you, this one's smart. But everything in between his things he does, where he's smart, is a lot of dumb. Oh God, yes, Boar's the same way. William was talking earlier about the hyena style dogmen. Okay, I don't believe those are dogmen. I personally, I do not believe those are dogmen, and I'm going to tell you why. So here's my reasons why, and I could be completely wrong, folks. This is my opinion, my theory, my hypothesis, and this is based off of investigations and research. There has been so many tales in Celtic mythology of them calling were hyenas, okay? And that is very much the same practice as it is for an SW. And then you also got to look at the Norse side of it, your Ofanar and your Berserkers. And it's not Berserkers. People get that mixed up. It's Berserker, which is the bear, Ofanar, which is the wolf. Then you got the crow. Then you got the boar, and you got all these other stuff too. Now, the same practices in Celtic mythology, North mythology, Mesoamerican mythology, Native mythology, all have the same practice of being able to do the same thing. They take that magic and put that skin of that animal on them and become that animal. Okay. I personally believe, just E.D. Testerman, I'm just an author, researcher, investigator. This is just my opinion, my theory, my hypothesis. So you guys can not get your panties in a wad on this. I personally believe we're looking at a were hyena, not a not a hyena dog man. I think it's a were hyena because there's so many, although they're very few In Mesoamerican culture, there's even encounters of them using a hyena skin and having these hyena types down there. Most of them you're going to find in this type of stuff is in Celtic mythology. Well, the Celts came here. The Celts traveled in other places too. Is this why you've got them in Mesoamerican culture just as well as here? Absolutely, that could be why. So I do not believe they are a dogman. I believe strongly that they're a were hyena. And so when you're hearing about these in all your accounts with these, hyena looking dogmen are very malicious. Well, that fits with the were hyena encounters. Very much like the were hyena encounters. Now, in Mesoamerica, most of your shape shifting deals with the cougar, the jaguar, and stuff like that. That's why you'll see a lot of that. Now, we're getting reports of them coming up here in the United States. I believe in your area, Texas, and I think even a few in mine as well. So, it's not beyond the belief that with everybody coming across the border like they did, we will be getting reports of these werecats and more reports of these were hyenas because they've taken those magics and brought them here. So I don't know what your guys' opinion is on it, Corey. I don't know yours. That's just mine.
I share the same as yours. That's why I think that's why we get along. You know, along the Red River where I live. Okay, I looked at a map, kind of a red zone map of all the reported sightings of these cryptids, and the thing is, if you look on that map, the Red River that runs at the bottom of Oklahoma, I'm on the plains side. Not a lot of trees. I mean, we've got creeks and everything, but the Plains Indians, this is where they lived, the Comanche. Okay. Once you hit I-35, which runs right through the middle of Oklahoma, once you hit the east side of that, it's the woods. The Appalachian Trail runs to it. Now, if you look on this map of these reported cryptids, you see a lot of heavy reportings in eastern Oklahoma. But once you hit I-35 coming west, there's nothing. But I want to explain something to you. It's the people that live here not reporting what they see. Or it would be just as red on the map as eastern Oklahoma. But for some reason, once you hit the Red River, separating Oklahoma down the middle, I-35, people don't report this stuff as often. And I'm telling you, I know a lot of people that live. I live 7 miles north of the Red River, okay? And I don't really consider myself a river person. I call the river people the ones that live on the river. And it's like pulling teeth getting them to talk about it. I mean, they'll vet you out for years before they start talking. And I think it's because the way people are making fun of you and calling you crazy, and that's why they don't like to speak about it. But
yeah,
when you look at that map and it's deceptive, okay, they must not be here. They're here. It's just the people don't report it. And the hyena, I've heard multiple people talk about it. And this one dude, I had to talk to him about it for 2 years before he'd admit to it. He shot one. And he shot it with a 270. And he said it didn't even move. It just turned around and walked off. And I'm going to tell you right now, I don't like hyenas. I never have.
Well, look at your werewolf and look at your were hyenas. So the most accurate knowledge I can find getting rid of a werewolf is actually dealing with the Rougarou, okay, which is the werewolf, okay. And you had to take the head off and burn the body, okay. When you study ancient religions on this very same topic, which I did put in Saga Grimson Book 1 in the beginning, That's why that's in that book, because it's ancient text on how you get rid of vampires and werewolves, and they're all the same way. The only difference between the two is if you have a werewolf friend, they can unalive a vampire. If you have a vampire friend, they can unalive a werewolf. That is the only difference between the ancient text and what they talk about with the Ruko.
I've heard Josh Turner talk about that. He's, he's a book of knowledge when it comes to that. I mean, he can remember what he's read word for word, and he talked about that. He said he spoke to a guy who used to be a werewolf, and he talked about the link with the werewolves and the vampires. And he said, if you're gonna be one, if you're absolutely gonna be one, the vampire is they say the werewolf transformation is painful.
Yeah.
And the way they describe it is this spirit or this demon overtakes you, and you see what you're doing physically, but you can't control it because it's got a hold of your mind. And he said that's the bad thing about it is the memory of you doing that stays with you, but it wasn't you doing it. It's something that had control of you, but you still remember what you saw yourself do.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, yeah, and
I mean,
so,
it just sounds crazy. But hell, nothing really surprises me anymore.
So to answer your question, Urso, the only time I've ever heard of anything when it comes to binding and burning the heart is actually with the big W. I don't want to say the name too much. But when it comes to werewolves and vampires, no. It's actually removing the head and burning the body. And in some instances, that is also the case with a zombie. But when it comes to binding and burning the heart, the only time I've actually ever seen that on a text of getting rid of something is a big W.
The bodies that they found of that were supposed to have been vampires, back a long time ago, when they dig these graves up, the head is detached.
Yep.
And I can't remember what the deal was. There is a wooden stake run through where the heart would have been, and there's something else that they bind it with. I can't remember what it is. If it's nails or something like that, some kind of iron, wrought iron.
Wrought iron.
Yeah, wrought iron.
So when it comes to wooden stakes, people are very misunderstood on that. It's not any type of wooden stake. It's specific type of wood.
Right.
And that is the same wood that Judah hung himself. Was it the ash tree? I think it was. Was it
ash is a very spiritual wood.
Yeah. That is the only type of wooden stake that actually works. And that's in all your ancient texts. But that's not binding. That's just one way of doing it. The most effective way is taking the head off and burning the body. But it's always take the head off. But you can if so that's something that pop culture and Holly Scrooge got wrong. I could break its leg off a table and stab it in the heart and get unalive this vampire. No, it has to be an ash tree.
Well, like you said, wood. Okay, I read a story or an article about the history of the holly tree. Okay, and they say the witches would use the holly limb to cast their spells. Hollywood. See the link with Hollywood and dark magic?
Mm-hmm.
It's right there in front of you. You just got to do the research and find it. And like I said, the more I read, the crazier the possibilities are.
Yeah. So whisper wrought iron is used on a lot of things. Wrought iron has a lot of protective magical abilities to it. If you cleanse your home and you take wrought iron, you put it in the four corners of your home with actual sea salt, true salt, not the imitation crap we get from the store. I'm talking about legitimate 100% sea salt. Okay. With those, you provide a protective barrier to your home. But if you don't cleanse your home prior to doing it, then you trap it with inside. Once you cleanse your home, you go outside your property, you cleanse your property, and you do the same technique on your property. And that protects you against paranormal and supernatural. Now, when we're talking about silver, Urso brought up silver, which he brought up a very good point about silver. Now, it's not just any type of silver. It is actual pure silver mixed with white ash. I can't remember. Corey, can you still hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm trying to remember. I'm drawing a brain fart. What type of white ash is it? It's not from oak, is it? I believe it's from the ash tree or the elm tree. The white ash that you got to mix with the pure silver in order for it to be effective.
Trying to think here. White pine, I've heard. Cedar.
Yeah, cedar's one. Thank you. Thank you.
When you burn it to use it, effectively as protection, when you burn it, when you go through the steps of doing this, your mind has to be on protection. When you're going through the process of creating your ash, you have to be in the mindset that you're doing this for protection, because your intentions go into whatever you're making,
Right.
And that's what, when I make my bear claws, I have to be, and I make sure that my mind is right to do it and be in the protective mindset. But okay, you're talking about wrought iron right here. I just took this down over my door.
Yeah.
Wrought iron horseshoe.
Mm-hmm.
With sage. So there you are. I'm showing it to you. I believe in this. I believe this works.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I think it's kept something from coming in before. That night, that owl went crazy outside and was beating on my door. I think it was mad because it couldn't come through.
I believe it is the ash tree, which is the main ingredients. But if you don't have access to the ash tree, I believe cedar is the supplemental thing you can use, because ash tree is actually combined with supernatural in a lot of ways. And so Christianity is going to tell you that that's tied to Judith, because he hung himself from the ash tree once he betrayed Yeshua with 30 pieces of silver. And this is where the Christianity will tell you the silver and all that stuff comes into. Folks, I can tell you that these techniques that we're talking about is far older than Christianity. Far, far, far older than Christianity. Okay. So that's just ways of the Catholic Church bringing in a outside religion to better further their stance in the world. Okay. And I'm not trying to be rude to anybody. I'm not trying to discredit anybody's beliefs, but the truth's the truth. And the Catholic Church was.
That's right. I agree with you on that too.
Yeah.
They saw all the pyramids that are covered up here in North America.
Yeah.
Best way to find it is find the old Catholic churches, and they'll be built on top of where the pyramids were.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you control.
Yeah, yeah. So, this is stuff that goes way beyond and far when it does this. So, I know Roxanne. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. She goes, Eric, I know. I agree. I agree.
That's why. Hey, that's what they want us to do, is fight with each other, and not move forward.
Oh, no kidding.
Start arguing.
Yeah.
Because that's what I try to tell Catholic people. I'm not dogging you personally.
No.
When I tell them about the Catholic Church, it's not a personal jab. It's a jab at the whole concept of the religion and everything, the Vatican and all that. And,
Yeah.
Hell, tell me why the Church of Satan's in the Vatican.
Yeah. Miriam, that is a very good choice. Cedar and sage mixed together is the best type of smudging and cleansing you could do for your body, your soul, your mind, and your home and your property. People forget the cedar. They go straight to sage. Cedar is also extremely important in that combination when you're coming to, cleanse and smudge, however it is you want to call it, with your body, your soul, your mind, your home, and your property. That is, Monisha, that's a good question. So, and some people do tie him to a vampire. Judah wasn't a vampire. He was never cursed to be a vampire, blah, blah, blah. No, there is nothing in the ancient text to tell you. That is pop culture.
I've never heard that either.
Modern day Holly Scrooge. But yes, and I like the concept because it fits there with everything that goes on with that. But that is, so don't take it the wrong way, please don't. It's pop culture. Okay, there's nothing in any kind of ancient text in Muslim, in Christian, or anything that talks about Judah becoming a vampire after he was hung. He hung himself because, he portrayed Yeshua.
Mm-hmm.
I use white sage or dragon's blood for saging, but certain spirits I can keep away, and fairies as well as fays. I speak all the elements. Yeah, which your fairies are a fae. Your fairies are part of the fae folk. If you look at the Celtic and Native American cultures, your fairies are in the fae folk. Now, well, that's in any culture. Never mind. I was thinking elves. Elves is also in Celtic and Native culture. They are part of the Fae. Where it's the only religion that they're different is in Norse mythology, where the elves live in a different realm. Sweetgrass is a good one, Unreal. Yeah, sweetgrass is actually another. You can combine that with your cedar and your sage, and it works extremely well. Absolutely.
Another thing.
That was one.
I've got a medicine woman who used to make sage sticks for me, and she brought me all the stuff to make them. I've got it, but she said that store-bought stuff is commercially grown. She said, and she goes down to the river and picks all this sweetgrass and cedar and wild rose petals and stuff. The wild, the natural wild plants and stuff and stuff she uses, I'm telling you, it's better. It works better.
Mm-hmm.
There's just something to it because it's not commercially grown. It comes straight from the earth. It's like a wild animal, and you can tell the difference in hers. I mean, I've had people go, "Well, what is that smell?" And I said, "That's my sage stick." Oh my God, I've got sage sticks, and they don't smell anything like that. And I said, "These are special, man. These are all grown wild. Everything in the sage stick is wild."
Speaking, you can get wild sage. Is there a way you can send me some? I need some for my medicine.
Yes, I can. I've got about a half a trash bag of it.
Do you? Yeah, I need some, not just for creating my own smudge sticks, but I need to, because especially on this werewolf investigation that I'm getting ready to pick back up on, and the Moon Valley one, I need to add some more protection. Cedar, I've got access to cedar, but I need sweetgrass and I need sage as well, because I got to start getting myself ready. Especially, I think you was actually on my live that day. I got ran out of them woods on that werewolf investigation by whatever that was. Dude, that was an extremely evil, powerful, supernatural entity, and very old, very, very old.
When people say, all you need is, prayer and all that. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's good, but a little bit more help doesn't hurt.
Yeah. Well, and so prayer is a huge part.
Yeah.
So, I'm Norse. And no, I'm not this modern day Norse pagan. I hate that word pagan. If anybody knows me, I hate the word pagan. Pagan is a derogatory term created by the Catholic Church to discredit and put down people outside of the Catholic religion. I hate
There it
the word
is.
pagan.
There it is
I
again.
hate that.
Yes.
I am Norse. And I've studied this modern day Norse paganism, and it goes so against the old gods. It's not even funny. Oh my God, I can't believe how far they have stepped around. Roxanne, I am not going to Moon Valley alone, and I'm not going back to that werewolf location alone either, because of what's there. Um, so I'm sorry, man. And you'll hear me. I'll pray to Odin, the All Father, the One Eye, the Far Wanderer. Um, but I believe, um, it says in the Torah, it says, I am a God of many names. Now, people mistaken thinking that's Jehovah Jireh, and the stuff like that. Yes, that's all part of it. I believe Zeus, Odin, and the list goes on of all these others gods that created gods and humanity is under the same name. Now, can man have manipulated and twisted? They do it all the time. They take religion and twist it, manipulate to the religion. This is what you're seeing in modern day Norse paganism.
It's also lost in translation of language.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely. Upon the fall of the Tower of Babel, the lung was split, the people were split. We looked different, we acted different, we thought different, and we spoke differently upon the fall of the Tower of Babel. So that's why I always tell people, when you study all these ancient religions, the core value of the religions are the exact same. I personally believe, that's my opinion, my theory, my hypothesis, it stems from the fall of the Tower of Babel. It all fits. So, but I believe in Yahuwah and Yeshua. I've seen Yeshua with my own eyes. I have seen Yeshua twice with my own eyes. So there ain't nobody's going to tell me Yeshua is not real. I'm sorry. I'm from Missouri. We are known as the show me state. You got to show me to make me believe it. I've seen Yeshua twice with my own eyes. Once in a phonograph and once sitting on a grass across my bed at one of my darkest times in my life when we were homeless. Okay. And when I looked at him, and of course, back then I knew him as Jesus, and I didn't call him by his true name, which is Yeshua. And, Jesus is an Eastern term, same as God. I knew him as Jesus back then, and I looked at him and said, Jesus, is that really you? Because that's what I felt in my heart, my soul, my mind. That's who was sitting there watching me on that bed, on that couch, sitting there and watching me while I was sleeping. And he smiled and he disappeared. And I can tell you, folks, he had long brownish hair, a long brownish beard, a white robe with a blue sash. I remember it vividly to this day what he was wearing when he was sitting on that couch watching me during a very dark time in my life. So you can't tell me Yeshua is not real. Yeshua is 100% real.
Hey,
now,
the cryptid's known real too.
Yeah. Now, is he known by a different name in different cultures?
Absolutely. Yes, he is.
The same as Yeshua.
They know him as the great creator.
Yeah.
If you speak of the great creator with the Sasquatch, they know who you're talking about. And they know who Jesus is too.
Yeah. And every
He's
single
the one who gave all.
There is one supreme God, one God above all gods. Yes. And, he's known as Yahuwah. He's known
Yahweh.
as
Yahweh.
Yahweh. Yahweh. He's known as Odin. He's known as all this stuff. This is my personal belief, folks, but it's just because of my study, my experiences, what I feel inside of my heart, my soul, and my mind. But he is, and it says in the Torah, it even says, I'm the God above all gods. I created man in our image, in the image of the gods. And that tells you there's more than one God.
And I think there's a link too between when we yawn and you see someone yawn and it makes you yawn too. You're almost speaking the name Yahweh when you yawn.
When you breathe. Think about it
when you
breathe.
yawn. Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a guy on another channel who had worked in a couple of the deep underground bases, and he said that he saw giants, and they told him, do your best not to yawn around these things. They don't like it. They'll go crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, think about it. Your every breath, you're speaking the name of your creator, whatever his name is. You know, in your Hebrew or your Muslim text, it's Yah. You know, every time you breathe, every time you yawn, you know, you're speaking the creator's name. That's why you should always thank him every single day. You know, whatever name it is you want to call him, you know, great creator, great grandfather, great mystery, Yahweh, Yahuwah, um, Odin, whatever it is, you know, thank you for another day of blessing. Thank you for another day of breathing. Because every time you breathe, you speak his name. Every time you yawn, you speak his name.
Someone asked me if I knew, you know, how to speak to the creator, how to speak to God. And they said, you know, you have to fold your hands and get on your knees. I said, no, you don't. I talk to him every day. I'm telling you, there's not a day that has gone by when I haven't talked to him right here. Yeah. You know,
dude, when I'm on my bike and I'm rolling down that road and I feel that wind, God's breath blowing across my body, there's not a single moment I'm on that motorcycle where I ain't going, God,
my hair's standing up.
Yeah, I do, because you know I get the tingling every time I think about this. I got the tingling going on in my third eye right now. You know,
it's doing that right now too. I'm feeling it. Yeah, I feel it like right here.
Yep. It always starts here for me. It always starts here in my third eye and works my way down. It really does every single time. But, you know, every time I'm on my bike and I feel his breath upon my body when I'm going down that road, and it's just me and that beautiful machine on that blacktop or that dirt road, whatever it is I'm on, I'm like, you know, thank you. Thank you for allowing me to have another day to experience this feeling. You can truly feel his presence, his breath, his entity when you have nothing blocking you, folks. And this is why I love to ride, is because that it not only helps me with the things that I've experienced in my time in the military, during the experiences I've had, you know, in my family life, but just everything together. It's, you can feel him. So how can you not believe in the great creator when you walk out that door? You can feel his very essence. When you wake up in the morning and you feel his very essence, when you speak his name and you feel his very his very essence, how can you not? That's just me, folks.
Well, so, you know, when people talk about prayer, and I had to think back about this, but all 4 years that I was in high school, when I played football, before every game, we recited the Lord's Prayer. And in the locker room, we were under, you know, a concrete stadium, but when we would pray before a game, man, the room would vibrate. And I didn't think a whole lot about it until recently. And so when I do pray in my mind, I'm right there with my teammates and I hear them in my head, because that's a powerful thing. You know, I'm telling you, if you could have sat there in that locker room when we did that, and you would know that carries a power greater than we could imagine. And I've even talked to some of my teammates that were more religious than I was at the time, who really don't even think about it anymore, who've kind of moved away from it. And I'm like, man, you don't remember that? And they're like, well, kind of, but, and I was like, oh, I guess, you know, I'm a late bloomer.
Yeah. So
But
I want to get to Whisper's question, and I apologize, Whisper. I was typing under his name earlier. William had an emergency, had to go. I'm his co-host, ED Testerman. I'm with the channel, The Bizarre and the Unknown. That's why you see that logo. That's me. I have my own separate YouTube channel. I co-host for William. He had an emergency, so I took over. You know, my good brother Corey here decided to come on with me to help me finish this up. But I'm going to answer your question here the best I can to my ability. And Whisper says, Nighthawk, do you get vertigo every time a portal opens up or a new spirit shows up or even a vortex for that matter? For me personally, not necessarily vertigo. I get a overwhelming sensation. It's almost like you can feel the magic it's used to create it, like tingling across my body. I can feel the energy in the surrounding area change. It's just like when I'm dealing with paranormal and supernatural, I can feel the energies, and that's how I can generally tell if something's good, bad, evil, or I need to get the hell out of there type moment, like I did on that werewolf investigation. When I am on doing these type of investigations, scripted, supernatural, paranormal, I am feeling the energy around me, and that's going to now that doesn't mean I have not been fooled, because supernatural can mask their energies, folks. So keep that in mind when you're doing these type of investigations. Supernatural very much can hide that type of energy from you, and it's happened to me. I've went on investigations thinking this is going to be a paranormal type deal, and everything's going good, and I get in the middle of that. Get in the middle of that investigation and come find out this thing is supernatural and it's very demonic. That stuff does happen, but that's one of the techniques I use. Now, you can watch my videos that I post on my investigations, and I do a lot of paranormal investigations because that's the main thing people come to me about. But you know, you'll see me. I'll do my initial investigations. That's me. I'm testing the area, testing the energies of the area, and that's going to let me know what I'm dealing with in that area. Like when I did the Springfield Commercial Club one, I took my youngest daughter on her very first paranormal investigation. I had done an initial investigation first because I didn't want to bring my daughter into something that is very powerful for her first investigation because I can seriously do some harm to her, and I don't want that. Okay.
I did that on
But for me,
accident
when
with
I'm
my daughter.
yeah,
I took her into
you
a
have to be
situation that I wasn't expecting was going to happen, and
mhm,
it freaked her out. You know,
right.
on the way home, she was real quiet, and I said, "Hey, you thought all this was bullshit, didn't you? Till tonight?"
Hmm.
And I said, and she got suspicious of me. You know, she thought that I, you know, drew her into that with me to scare her, and that was the farthest thing away from what my intentions. I took her to my old football field to walk in the grass barefooted to get grounded. And while we were walking, we stopped there at the south end of the field, and something spoke my name from behind us.
Hmm.
It said, "Corey."
Well,
And she
yeah.
turned around. I didn't, because this is old hat to me,
Hmm.
you know. But it shook her up, and I felt kind of bad about that. But that I had no control over that because that's not why I had her there, you know.
Yeah. Now, that's not to say I've not had vertigo on some very powerful supernatural experiences because I have, and I'd be lying to you and doing you a disservice if that's never happened to me. Just the most common is I can feel the shift of the energies. I can feel the magic in the air when it happens.
That's right.
But with one, yeah, but with very powerful ones, have I been hit with vertigo on situations like that? Absolutely. So you do have to be very careful. Now this stuff can affect people differently. You know, my gift of discernment, I'm a little bit better in it than most people. Everybody has the gift of discernment. I'm just more in tune to mine than others because people have been brainwashed to forget about it. I was never brainwashed for years and years and years. I was under the impression that me being able to see these demons or these entities of all different shapes was a curse. Now, it wasn't until later on
Same here.
when my pastor told me, he goes, son, that's not a curse. That's a gift from Yahuwah. And everybody has this gift. You're just very in tune to your gift. Now, could I be in tune because most of my family are very telepathic, psychic, however you want to put it? Yes, most of my family on the dark side and the light side is very strong when it comes to that type of stuff. So is that why I'm more in tune to it? Possibly. I'll be honest with you, I don't know the true answer on that. I've heard a kind of a mixture of everything when it comes to that type of stuff. I can't give you a good answer. I'm just saying it's possible. It kind of fits in that puzzle. So is that why I'm affected differently than other people? Possibly. It very much could be the reason why. Now, you yourself could experience these things and get vertigo right off the bat because you're not as in tune to it as I am. I don't know. That's just a theory. That could be. I'm interested to learn more on that. So if you're willing to converse with me on that more, Whisper, you can email me at oh, I don't think we have that code on here, Roxanne, do we? We have to do it on mine. Cryptid and mythological at gmail.com. And I'd be more than willing to talk with you on that. So listen, folks, we're already over that 2-hour mark. Corey, what do you got in closing comments?
You know, I'll say this. This is what we were talking about. You know, I heard a saying one time. They might get you, but if you lose your nerve, they'll get you for sure. You know, when you're out and you have an encounter with something paranormal or whatever, you have to keep your wit about you and stay calm. And do not get scared because that's when you fuel them. That's your fear is their fuel.
Mm-hmm.
When they're trying to scare you. And that's what I taught my daughter that night. I said, she wanted to run. And I said, do not run. We're going to walk away calmly and slowly. You know, she just wanted to break. Dad, let's go. And I said, hold tight. You know, and we backed out of there very slowly. And every experience is an individual experience. Just because that person's standing next to you doesn't mean they see the same thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's your vibration and frequency that affects what you see and how you see it. This is what I believe. And I believe if you're going to go out on a paranormal investigation, that meditation and your breathing, like you spoke about earlier, Eric, is very important. And if you don't feel like you're in the place mentally to do that, then don't.
Right.
I've backed out of a few of them because I knew I wasn't in the right place. You know, my energy.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yep.
But that's about it. Just stay calm. No fear.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, control it. Because it's a fire. If a fire gets out of hand, what happens?
Okay. Yeah. Exactly. If you wouldn't mind, tell everybody about your show that you got coming.
Okay. I've started my channel. I've got content in the posts. I've got a lot of photo evidence and stuff like that. I haven't done any videos yet, but they're coming. It's called Boondock Mojo. Right here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on YouTube. Boondock Mojo, Corey Cole. That's my channel.
Heck yeah. You know, Corey, thank you for coming on and helping me. Like I
Man,
said,
anytime.
Keep William in your prayers, everybody. He's got something real bad going on. Hey, Jay, it's good to see you. Carl, where's my packages? I'm waiting on a package for my office. Thank you. I need my package. But thank you guys for coming in. Tonight on my show is Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. If you have an encounter that you want to talk about, that is what today's shows, the Saturday shows, is all about. That was created by you, the subscribers. If you want to come on live and talk about your experiences, we'll bring you on live. I've had Corey on. I've had a few guys on. I can't remember. Manisha, have you been on with mine yet? I mean, I've had several people on. I can't remember who's came on and talked about their encounters on the Saturday show. That is what Campfire Chats and Eric and Guest is for. If you just want to talk about it in chat, man, we'll talk about it in chat. Either way, that is what that was created for. You, the subscribers, created the Saturday show, the Campfire Chats with Eric and Guest. That is your show. So let's talk about your stuff. Sunday, it is confirmed. I'm going to have my good brother St. Loco on with me and his paranormal team out of Kansas. Now, I am going to be going June 6th. I am joining them on 2 investigations. One of them is a very famous place. Well, both of them are famous places. But we are going to the Sally House June 6th. And we're also going to the Macavella house to do paranormal investigations. Folks, if you don't know what them places are, look them up. They are extremely haunted and have demonic presences with them in that house. And I can tell you, folks, I've seen the evidence that St. Loco and his team has gathered, and there is definitely some interesting stuff that goes on at that Sally House. So that will be going on June 6th. I got to see what day that's on. If it's on a show day, then I will not have a show because I'll be up there doing that, but I'll be recording, going through the evidences and putting it out on my channel. So Sunday, I want to have him and his team on. We're going to be talking about paranormal investigations experiences, and being he was with me on the Indian Point paranormal experience video that I just released on my channel. We're going to talk about that. That was just 2 of us kind of showing, what we used that led into something. Well, folks, if you haven't seen it, I don't want to ruin it, but it's one of the reasons why I love doing paranormal, what happens at the end. And it's like detective work when you're doing this type of investigation. So that's on there. So that's what I got going on. I am working on that zombie book that I've been working on for a little over a year that I got to get out, Reign of the Draugr, Dawn of Armageddon, which is the first book in this series. I'm almost done with chapter 5, but I put that aside because I'm going through the evidence of the paranormal investigation I did with my 80-year-old neighbor that's never had paranormal experiences before. Folks, I'm on my first of my digital 360 recordings. I still got another one to go to and multiple video evidence. Something that's only an hour and 37 minutes long, I've already got 6 hours of work into it. That's how much evidence I've caught on this digital 360 already. So I'll be working on that today. So that video, I'm hoping to get done here before too long, but it's just me. It takes a little while to do it. So with that being said, thank you for coming. Everybody joining us today. Like I said, once again, keep William in your prayers. To my mods, thank you so much. You guys are great. You really help William on this show, and trust me, I'm truly grateful and thankful for every single one of you guys to do it. From the new subscribers to William's channel to his OGs, you guys are badass. You guys are awesome, and I appreciate every single one of you guys, and I know William does too. So when I'm saying that, I'm not just saying that for me. I'm saying that for our good brother William as well. So I don't know if William's going to be able to go live tomorrow morning. He's supposed to be able to go live tomorrow night because we could not do the Red Rabbit Hole on Friday. So just keep an eye on your YouTube channel for that to see what happens. So until later on today or until tomorrow, folks, peace, love, and blessings to you all. And thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Oops, hit the wrong button.
Through the mist we rise, a force unbroken, with banners high and hearts awoken. The sound of pipes, our war is calling. Like thunderous waves, our duty is falling. Stand tall, together we fight, with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions to defy our death. In unity our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. With battle cries we forge our fate. In fields of valor we elevate. As shadows loom, our spirits gleam. Brothers in arms, we are the dream. Fearless, we take the night with courage found in every breath. We'll fight like lions, defy our death. Unity, our hearts shall sing the legacy of warriors through every reign. As dawn breaks, we know our name.